Today we are diving into one of the most powerful feature of Microsoft Excel, pivot table. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced Excel user, mastering pivot tables can significantly boost your data analysis skill. So let's get started. Okay. So before we move into the Excel, so today I will show you a step by step. So what I'm going to do, we will discuss today with the what are the pivot tables. Then we will discuss about setting up your data, then creating a pivot table, then customizing your pivot table, and the next one, and this is the last one, analyzing data with pivot tables. Okay, so before we dive into creating the pivot tables, let's understand what they are. So pivot tables are powerful tools in Excel used in summarize, analyze, and percentage large dataset. They allows you to rearrange, summarize data dynamically, making it easier to draw insight and identify patterns. Okay, so now let's ensure our data is structured correctly for pivot table analysis. So and here, and make sure you have a table with a clear header and cool, consistent formatting, like each column should represent our unique variables, and there should be no blanks row and columns within your data set. Okay, so here I have the sales, regions, product, and also amount with headers, and this is the data types. And now let's create a pivot table. And so creating a pivot table is straightforward. Simply select your data or click anywhere in your data set, then navigate to the Insert tab and click on the pivot tables. Okay, then Excel will promote you to choose where you want to or want to the pivot table report to be placed, and either on a new worksheet or an exciting worksheet. Okay, so now for example, let me use the existing worksheet, then use the location, or I will use a new worksheet, then hit on the OK. And now that we have our blank pivot table, so setup, let's customize it suit our needs. So you can drag and drop into the rows and columns areas to organize your data. Okay, so for example, let's use the product name into the rows and results used into the columns, and sales amount I will use into the values. Okay, so additionally, you can use the values area to summarize your data using function like the sum, counts, average. And also the more, by clicking over here, you can now show this is the total sums of sales amount, or you can change here, like you can change here the difference one by using our values field settings. You can have the count or average. For example, you can have the average, or you can easily use this one, summarize as value by product. We have the product, or you can easily use this one as the count. So we have the accounts, or you can make it as the sum. So we have the sums in there. Okay, and with our pivot table set up and customized, so let's dive into the sum analysis. You can easily filter your data, short it, even create calculate field to perform more advanced analysis. So our pivot table is allow you to create pivot chart for visual representation of your data. And like you can easily use this one, like I want to use the product and product B. So here we feature out with the product A and product B, or if you want to use, or you can add the different calculate field over here, and you have also the calculate items if you want to use. Okay, so and there you have it, and introduction to pivot table in Excel. So before we wrap up here, a few tips and keeps in mind, like refresh your data or refresh your pivot table whenever your data is changes or your data changes to ensure it's up to date. And you can do by using the people to analyze and use the refresh one. Okay, and also experiment with different layout and configuration to find out what works best for your data, and practice regularly to master pivot tables and unlock their full potential. So that's it for today's tutorial on introduction on the pivot tables. I hope you found it helpful in understanding the basics of pivot tables, and thanks for watching. We will see you in the next time.